So, engaging in books. What is that like? So, before we start, this is the first question of the night. Do you read with your child? Do you read with your child? Anyone? No? Yes? Maybe you can give me a thumbs up on the with the emojis. I think there's one. Your children? Yeah? Mm,
Yes, Meiji saying yes.
yes, yeah. Do you read regularly with your children?
Mhm.
Like, is it very often, or is it like, one or two times, when you have that, you find a chance to. So before we really talk about things, we did kind of review. We had another workshop earlier last year, and it's about choosing books, and what is the right book. So we're going to go quickly through that, and then we're going to talk about all the really nice things that we want to talk about today. So in terms of, choosing the right books, we often get parents talking to us about, what's the right book? Am I getting the right one? Is it going to be, suitable? Um, there is no real good book and no and bad books in that sense. It's really dependent on your child's level and their ability, um, and where they're at. So, for example, when you're thinking about good books or what books suitable for my children, it looks at how long is that book. If your child has a very short attention span, then you don't want to be looking at a 20-page picture book. Those books might be a bit too long for them, and then you lost them at the third page. So it's not always the longer the books, the better for your child. It might be shorter the book. How many words versus how many pictures available? Is it all pictures or is it all words? That really also depends on your child as well. So sometimes you might have children that really likes reading. So you've got those children that really likes reading every single word, and you can't get them to move past that. You're finding it like a struggle to get them to not read the words, and they're always reading every single one to the punctuation and dots and everything. Then you might be looking at, well, maybe for her or for him, you might want to give them a wordless book instead. Um, so those are all pictures, and then they have to use their cognitive abilities or their thinking skills to be thinking about what's happening in the book and talking about the pictures itself. Um, in terms of cognitive abilities, I just really wanted to highlight it's not always their age, um, and then match it with their age with a book that is there. So, sometimes you get the books and say, oh, it's great for a 5-year-old or great for a 7-year-old. We're not really looking at that in that sense. We're more looking about whether or not their ability and their skills and their interests are appropriate for the book that you choose. So, for example, you might have a child that is 3 years old, and we think, oh, maybe we can do a bit more of some words in that book, but actually, well, they're really at that stage where they're still just pointing to things. Or if you have a child that's 7 and they're, reading words and they like, very good imagination, and then you might not choose the books that are, open the flaps, where spot, those kind of books as well. So we're thinking about matching the books with what they are at and where they are at, rather than, what age they are and matching that book in there. And the third thing that I really want to talk about is positioning. So I'm not going to go into it about, where do we put them, how should we put them. The most important thing about positioning is being face to face with your child. So being able to see what they're looking at and where they're looking at. What are they interested in? So if you had a picture and there was a fire truck there, they're looking at the lights on the fire truck. You're looking at the wheels and you're talking about the wheels. They're not going to be paying attention to you. We're not going to have that joint attention because you're not looking where they're looking and you can't see. So sometimes your child likes to have a little cuddle, you have them in front of you. It's very hard for you to navigate, especially, the heads moves and they bob around a little bit. So that might be a little hard for you as well. So make sure that you can see what they're looking at. It doesn't have to be, them on one side and you're on the opposite end, because, you can see their eyes and then you look at it's upside down. It might be that you might be side to side, but you can still see each other. So just making sure that you can see them and see the book itself as well. And the environment to where you have the books. So, for example, is it very loud in your environment? Is it very quiet? When are you having the books? Those are also other important factors to think about when you're choosing, to read the book with them and if it's the right book as well. Do you have any questions so far about, the review of, choosing books? Anyway, okay. I'm going to take no response as no. Um, But if you do have any questions, we do have our emails, so feel free to email us. If you don't have our individual emails, feel free to email back. I think Karen who sent the link, and then we will be able to answer. We also have a web post that I think is linked later on, where it's all about choosing books and what books to choose. How do we engage in those first steps as well? So, without further ado, we have our first thing to do with again. Yeah.
So hi everyone. Now we are going to do some activity. So just now, if you don't have any questions, it's fine. If you have any questions throughout the talk, you can just message us in the chat box anytime. Yeah, we are monitoring the chat box, so we can just answer your question right away. So now I'm going to ask you some questions and think about it and give us some response this time. Now, I want to ask you, um, does your child seem to like reading? Is a very important question before you choose a book and read with them. And also, what makes you struggle with book reading and join our workshop now? And also, what do you expect your child to do when you're reading with them? And how are you going to try to get them to respond to you? Um, think about it. I'll give you 1 to 2 minutes, and uh, if you don't mind, you can share with us through Zoom, like talk to us now. And also, if you don't want to talk, you can also type in the chat box for us. So think about it. You can just tell us now or type in the chat box if you can think of anything now. What makes you so struggle in reading books with your child? Yeah,
Hi, Vian.
yeah,
Yeah, my daughter, she's now 4 years old and she likes reading.
yeah.
And I'm actually not quite struggling with book reading, but for me, it's like a sleep ritual. So I'm not quite fond of reading the books to her, but I want to do better. That's why I joined the workshop.
Mm.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I actually have one question about the choosing the book because I'm now having this Little Red Riding Hood book with me,
Mm,
and in this story, the little girl actually cut open the wolf's stomach and then replace him and her grandma with some stones in the wolf's the belly, and I did read this book to my baby, but I'm not sure if it's right for me to do that. So
mm,
yeah, that's my question.
yeah. So first of all, I appreciate very much that you read books with your child, even though you are not fond of reading books. That's very good because your child may like you to read books with her or just spending some time with her. So this is very good of you doing that. Another thing is when you ask about uh, if it's right or wrong to read the book about cutting the belly of a wolf, it's actually how it's about how you present the story to your child because if you interpret it, it is in a way like the wolf is a bad guy and how you cut oh yeah, and how you cut the belly is actually saving the girl is this in this way you are giving your child in an impression is that oh it's good to save the girl or how are we going to save or let the girl to be aware of bad guys in the future. So you can explain more to them. And also, so your girl is already 4 years old. She might or might not understand some of the logic behind, and you can answer her question if she can't understand why are we cutting the belly of the wolf. So you can try to explain to her there is no right or wrong to tell the story to your girl. Yeah. Do you want to add anything? Yeah.
No, I would agree. Like I think it really depends on how we are presenting that information, and also because depending on your child, I'm not too sure if you mentioned earlier, sorry, how old she is, but I think it's also important to let her know that, oh, this is pretend, or we don't do this, or if you're really worried about, oh, this is the information that I don't want her to learn, then it might be something that you bring up to her and say, oh, actually, oh, cutting it up might hurt. There's other conversations from that you can expand into. So, for example, oh, cutting it hurts. We don't cut, people's stomach. We can't put them in the rocks in. That would hurt, those kind of things as well to extend what you do. Or what you can cut, or we can use knives to cut something else, or those kind of things as well. So extending that beyond the book sometimes could work as well.
Okay, thank you.
Hope that's helped. Yeah.
Mm.
How about Macy? Do you have any questions in reading books with your child?
Hi, this is Maisie. So I have two kids. One is 4 years old. The other one is 7. The 4 years old boy, he has a strong interest in reading, especially English storybooks. The only struggle is that how I start to introduce some nonfiction books to him, because it seems that he is very into those stories, for example the Gruffalo, Fly Guys, and all sorts of keeper, those Oxford reading trees. They have a very funny story, right? And then beautiful pictures and illustrations. But then for those picture books, which actually has some kind of real life pictures, he is not quite into it. So my first question is how to start to introduce nonfiction books to him in a more interesting way. And on the other hand, for my 7 years old son, he has yet to develop a reading habit. He is not interested in reading by himself, but then even though he's 7 years old, I still want to because after all, he's still young in early primary school. I still want to see which part I can do better, so that he can start to enjoy reading. I don't mind reading with him, but given that he has more homeworks, and then longer school hours, and then it really struggles to form a good learning reading habit. So that's the two struggles that I have currently. Thank you.
Very good question. So first of all, to answer your first question, you said you want your 4-year-old to read more books, which is non-fictions. The first question I would ask is there anything that interests your child? Like what kind of for example, like does he like trains, or does he like insects, animals? So that kind of interest can actually make him more engaged and more interest to read and start to read some nonfictions. And when we talk about now we know about your child is interested in, for example, animals, then we can start from there. Taking some more nonfiction books, maybe is about the animal's life, animal's habitat. So it's something that will make him interested to start with, but not something like we force him to do. Yeah, that would be my first recommendation. And then the second thing is how we can make it more interesting, even for some nonfiction book which is not interested for him. What we can do is we can be role, which is I am curious to know, can you find out something for me? which can make the child to like feeling more successful to do something. Oh, I can read about it or find about it from the book and teach mommy, so that he can learn something from the book and then retell you, and he would be more successful to do it if you can give him more praising, especially when he could find some very, very easy information from there. So just be more like make the child to be curious, so they can get to open the book and try to find something for you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me if I stay here to talk?
Or I can change the mic.
I wonder if you probably can. Right? Oh,
yeah, you can just talk here.
I can just,
maybe
I'll just talk here. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're just a bit worried that you can't hear me. But I think the other thing, like, with what Vian was saying is really, it's also to remember, the reason of talking, reading the book as well. So sometimes we read books for fun. Sometimes we're reading books for, for work, as in like, schoolwork and things like that. So I think it really is also important to be thinking about, why am I, introducing this book, or what is it that my goal is when I'm looking at this. Obviously, I don't want you to write a whole page of books or goals, sorry. But it's just really keeping in mind, what is it that I'm trying to get out of this activity with my child? In terms of like with non-fiction books as well, regardless of non-fiction or fiction books, I think you can use props. So it's just like, Fian was talking about, you can think about animals, and then, you might be reading a book about animals of, the habitat and, what they eat and all that, those really interesting information. And then you might actually also bring them to the zoo, to see the real life animals, to get their interest in this. Oh, I really want to know more about this, and then bring them a book about the same thing. So things are related to that, that book to start off with, so that they can bring that interest, and things that they can do as well, test out, what I can do with my little horse, or things like that as well.
So thank you for explaining more, and thank you for all your questions. It's very good that both of you have some questions to bring in, and let's learn more together to how about how can we engage more with our child. So very good question, and thank you for all the questions. And now we are going to learn about how can we engage more, and be bear in mind that how are we delivering the stories or books is actually also affecting how the children can find it interesting or not interesting to read. So I'm going to play you a video, and maybe we can start from here and think about, is it a good way of the parent reading the story here, or is it a bad way, good way or a bad way? You can think about it and tell us more about how do you think. Okay. Macy drives the bus. It's a green bus here. Macy is driving her bus today. Where's the bus? Bus. Where's the bus? Bus. What color is the bus? What color? Macy. What color? Macy. What color is the bus? It's green. 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 Yes, green color. One. This is number one bus stop. 1, 2. Oh, 3. This page. Not yet. Not yet. This page. Oh, 4, the bus is going to bus stop number 2. 2. Where's the 2? Where's 2? Meow. A cat. Where's number 2? Here. Cat. Yes, there's a black cat. It's a black cat here. Oh, where's the cat? 3. Where's the cat? You have finished watching the video now, and would you tell us something about what is good that you like from the parent reading the book, or what is bad from something that you don't like about the parent reading? You can just share. How did the parent read the book to the child? Did you see?
I think the parent is doing good, because she actually reads to the to her baby, but I can see she's pressing so much information. She tries to teach her baby, and that's why she's a little bit pushy. And she neglects her baby's signals about maybe her own interest in the story. So I think it's better for her to take the baby's lead and try to engage with her instead of pushing all the information on the baby.
That's very good. So when you talk about, oh, you want to change, if you are going to read the story, you are going to wait for her responses and pay attention to her interest on the book. That's very good that you think about it and how you would like to change it. So when you talk about, oh, you think the parent is a bit pushy on the child, what do you mean very pushy? What did the parent do in the video that you think is a little bit too pushy?
She's asking a lot of questions, and she interrupts her baby's pace by asking her to wait, to stop turning the pages. Yes, so I think the parent is only focusing on herself about all the information she wants to feed to the baby, but neglects the baby's need.
That's very good observation. So, in most of the time, we may or may not ask many questions when we read books to our children. So, as to test them if they really know the things that on the book. So, is asking question a good way while we are reading books, or is it yeah, we should do that, but maybe we can change some of the questions which is more appropriate for the children. So this is what we are going to bring it up during this workshop with you guys. And is there any more questions from Macy's? Thank you for sharing.
I think it also depends on the age of
Yes.
child or the baby, right? And the question has to be age appropriate and not to be too excessive. And of course, if I believe that there are a certain kind of child or children who enjoys answering those questions, right? To show mommy or daddy that, oh, I know the answer, I can find it. Okay, but then maybe sometimes they're tired, or if the child is not that kind of personality, then that reading style may not be appropriate to that child. And
yes.
Yeah, and it also depends on the kind of book that you pick, right? If I think if the child is old enough to understand, right, then they maybe don't mind you asking them question, and then they can answer it. But then if it's just a little bit too young, and they may have difficulty to answer those questions, and they may feel frustrated. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. So, very good observation. And what you say is, you want to ask different level of questions, like more appropriate to their age. So, could you give me some example if you would like to ask question for a 4-year-old and also for a 7-year-old? Do you have any examples? Is there any difference in the questions?
I think for 7 years old, maybe we can ask him to, if you were the character, or like for example, at the end of the page, then before the last page, we just make a guess, like what is the ending, or what would you like the ending would be, right? And then let's make a guess, and then we take turn making a guess, and then let's find out, what the author, has written. Yeah, and then right. Yeah.
Yes, very good. So for a 7-year-old child, maybe their understanding and their ability is a little bit higher, so they can answer and understand what if question. So it's more like they will have to imagine themselves, and also in also relate themselves in the story to make another scenario. So it is requiring more cognitive ability in in order to answer this type of question. That's very good. So how about if we want to ask lower level questions, what we are going to do is to like, for example, in the video, from the video, the child is not responding to some of the question. Is it because they don't know the answer, or is it because they just don't want to answer? So we are going to figure out and talk about commenting now. So because we have been talking about questions, maybe sometimes it's not about what questions or level of question we are asking, is about maybe the child really doesn't know what to expect to answer. So what we can do is we can do some commenting before we ask questions. So we have a rule, which is we make 4 comments before asking 1 question. Making comments can be on different things on the book when we read with the child. For example, we can comment on the things that the character is doing or the character is seeing or experiencing in the book, so that the child can listen to more vocabulary and language and expands his understanding in terms of what is doing on the book, so that when you ask questions, they can expect what to answer. And also remember that before your child produce the language, they can have opportunity to expose to the models that you are giving. So make 4 comments before asking any questions. And now we are going to try it out. Now we have a book here, which is called Elma in the Snow. We are going to turn to one of the pages on the book, and let's make some comments on this book. We are going to read about it. So of course, there are some words for you to read, and I'm going to finish reading the first line, and then let's make some more comments about this page that you see here. So if I'm the parent, I would say, oh, it wasn't long before all the elephants were throwing snowballs at each other. And what else can we comment? Maybe I will do an example and point to the elephant on the left corner. I will say, look at Elma. He's making a snowball. Yeah. And this is what I'm doing is I'm commenting on the character, what the character is doing on the page. And could you also make 1 comment on this page? Does anyone want to try?
I'll give a try.
Yeah.
Perhaps like similarly, I will point to the to the trees.
Yeah, to the trees.
Yeah, and then I will say, oh, look at the trees. Usually when we see those trees, they are green in color, right? But now it's a little bit of white on top. So what are these? What are these on top? Yeah.
What are these?
What are these? Yeah. Then I will tell the kid that, oh, you see, these are snow. These are snow on top of the leaves.
Yes, I love how you ask a question and then you give the answer as a model for your child. Remember, we always give comment. So it's like you just give the answer for your child first so that they know next time when you ask this question, they have the answer. They have the answer and model of what my mommy is expecting me to give and or expecting me to say. So he will expect mommy is going to say, oh, what are these on the tree next time, and he will know how to answer, oh, it's snow, because you gave the model. Yeah, so remember, we can always comment on look. Yeah, look here, many snow, so much snow on the trees, so that he knows, oh, so many snow on this tree here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So I just want to add as
Yeah.
well, when we're commenting, we just also want to be a little bit careful of when we comment. We want to make sure that we're not using directive comments as well. So sometimes we do fall into the category. I surely do sometimes fall into the category, and then I catch myself, oh, oops, and then I follow up with another comment. So just thinking about those comments where we go, oh look, see or come, find, those kind of words where we think, oh, that's a comment, right? Find the tree, or find something here, or I found, it can become something like a directive telling him what to do as well. So we just want to make sure as well when we are making comments that, oh, are we adding too many of those as well? Because I remember earlier one of you was saying that, oh, sometimes our parent earlier in the video was a bit pushy. That can also add into that load of when we're talking to our child and reading a book as well.
Yeah. So, okay. Now we can move on to, is that would Sandrine want to give it a try too?
I think I will just circle all the elephants and tell my baby that, oh, they look so happy. Yeah.
Yeah, they are happy. Very good. Yeah. Yeah. So if your child is really small, she's just 4 years old, what you can say is make the sentence shorter for her to understand. It's very good that you can just say elephant is happy, elephant is running, and describe what the elephant is doing. Yeah, that's very simple and easy for her to understand as well. And so now you know what you can do while you read a book. Make more comments before you ask questions. So this is the very important thing before you learn how to modify your questions. Now, yeah. Okay. So just now, we also asked something about what would you ask while you read with your child. Now, we have a book here, and I'm going to, we have a book here. So we are going to talk more about how are you going to modify your questions, and I'm going to pass the time to Joanne to talk about it. Yeah.
Just gonna move around. We're just a bit worried with the computer and things that not picking up sound. That's why we're moving a little. So we were talking a little about commenting earlier, where Vian was telling us that we can talk about the actions, we can talk about what's happening, the feelings. Also depending on your child, where they are at. I'm hearing that we've got a little bit of a difference. Some of us have 4-year-olds, some of us may have 7-year-olds, and so the type of comment that you make for them could also be different, right? So if you have a child that is, talking less, or, the language ability is a little lower, then you want to use shorter sentences, things that, they can see concrete, when you're pointing to the elephant, pointing right at the elephant and talking about what's happening there. When you have older children, we earlier on, some of the questions that I think it was, let me double check my notes. When Macy was talking about an older child, you might ask more complex questions about, what was happening, how do you know? So you might also, when you're commenting, add those answers to already what you're talking about. So, oh, the elephant is happy. Oh, we know they're happy. He's smiling. That's why we know he's happy. Those kind of things where we're explaining a little bit more about what's happening and the reason behind it when we're making those comments, to extend the language and add to what they know. Because what we want to be doing when we're reading with them is adding knowledge, right? Adding language. So if we know that they've got the sentence structure, or we know that they know, oh, this is happy, then we also want to know and think about, oh, what can we add to it? What are we doing in this reading that we're going to add to that language that they don't know already? So does that mean that we never ask questions, right? We only want to give them the answers. We don't ever want to ask them questions. Of course not. We want to tailor our questions to them. So I know we have a lot of questions today to ask. But I think it's really good because it makes us think about what we are doing in that interaction. So here's the question for me to you is, what questions do you ask when you read with your child? I know that earlier we've got a question about, prediction, last page, what's next? We had a question about, what's this? What are these? What other questions do you find yourself asking your child? Maybe Sinjane, maybe if you can go first.
I usually ask my because I'm reading this book showing all the fruits. So I will ask my baby, what do you like? What do you like eating? Why do you like it? Yeah, that kind of question.
Why do you like eating it? Okay. What about Macy? Macy? What questions might you ask as well?
Is this specific to this?
Your child. Not specific to this book, but if you want to be specific to this book, that's fine too. But I think we're quite a tight bunch at the moment, so we can make it more personalized as well.
I see. What question do I ask when I read with my child? I will try to relate those books, the pictures, relate to his personal life, experiences, and try to, recall him. Oh, do you remember last time we went there, and then we see something similar like this? Yeah, and then ask him, whether he has those memories, and let him talk about that a little bit of memory. Yeah.
Okay, so if I was your child, say for example, I'm your child right now, and you had to ask me a question, you had to ask me a question related to a book, for example, what would you say?
I would say, okay. For example, let's say it is a green green pasture, something like that. The picture. And I would say, oh, do you remember last time we had been to a farm in Yunlong, and we saw very beautiful and a great piece of pasture. Do you remember why do you have why were we there, and then what did we do there? Yeah.
What about in related to a book?
Related to a book.
Do you ask any question related?
Like when you're reading with them? Sorry.
I will ask him, this character looks a bit sad, and there are tears over there, right? And what if you were the character, will you feel similar way? Yeah.
Perfect. So the reason why we're asking these is just that we wanted to make sure that it's not that we just wanted to see what questions we asked. Do we think it's easy? Do we think it's hard? So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, okay? And if you have a pen, or if you mentally in your head, you can write it down, and you can help me rate how hard do you think these questions are, or how easy do you think it is? Because we don't have a lot of people, so I'm just going to ask a question and then you can say easy or hard, okay? Or maybe you can type it out. I'm in regards to Elmer in this now, so I'm just going to ask it in regards to Elmer because I've got Elmer in front of me. If I point to elephant and say, what is this? Do you think it's an easy question or a hard question?
I think it's easy.
Okay, if I ask, falling down. Easy or hard?
Sorry, will you repeat that again?
Why is he falling down?
Why is it?
Or why did he fall down?
Thing is, it's difficult to me.
It's difficult, yeah. What about Sandrine? What do you think?
Are you referring to that page you
Yeah,
shown
just
us?
oh,
So they are playing the snowball and some of them falling down, you mean?
Yep.
Yep.
I can bring
Oh.
it back. Oh,
So-
let me find it. Here.
So should I pretend myself as as a 4 years old now?
No.
No,
I'm asking
just
you, do
me,
you think
right?
yeah, just you,
Okay,
you.
then,
Do you think it's a hard question or do you think it's going to be an easy question for a child?
For a child,
Hmm.
then maybe hard.
Hard question, okay. If I say, yeah, this one's fine. Go back. Okay, or if I ask, it's playing in the snow, isn't it? Have you heard of those questions? Was that an easy question? It's playing in the snow, isn't it? It's an easy question or a hard question.
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
No worries. I really appreciate it because I have been told sometimes I do need a little bit of more, a bit more explanations. So what we're just doing is, I'm just going to give you some questions about this book, about Elmer in the Snow, and then I want you to help me figure out, do you think it's a hard question or do you think it's an easy question? Okay. And so if I said, oh, and I'm pointing to Elmer in front of you, the little colorful Elmer. I wonder if I can actually circle it. Can I circle?
Yes.
If I circle it, can you see?
Yes.
If I'm circling it and I say, oh, it's an elephant, isn't it? Do you think it's an easy question or a hard question?
Hard.
Huh?
It's a hard question because from this picture, I think child has difficulty understanding this is this is an elephant.
Well, I think that's a very good observation that you have because some of the picture books that we choose, sometimes we also have to keep in mind how abstract that picture is, right? So I think that's a really good observation that you've got there. It could be a hard question depending on, whether or not the child understands that abstract elephant being, very different and things like that as well. All right, so I am going to go to the next page. When we're thinking about questions, and actually, we had been talking about questions quite a bit, right from the start, talking about how we would ask questions, what kind of questions we ask. This is Blank's level of questions, and it is only one framework, okay? So it's not the only framework out there, but I think it's a really good start to thinking about what kind of questions we're asking and whether or not it is, appropriate for our child, is it at the same level? Is it too hard? Is it too easy? Often, a lot of times what happens is that we do ask questions when we're talking to our children and when we're reading. And it goes from concrete level questions to abstract questions. And so concrete questions are things that you can see. Maybe they have a straight answer. It's always, it's something that cannot be wrong. You can name things. And, if you see Aleph, well, let me see. I've got Elmer in front of me as well. So I'm just going to bring it out. So I'm just going to show you the back page. But I might be pointing to this. This is an elephant. I can ask, what is this? Let's name it. Let's label it. Those kind of things are things that can't go wrong. These are your very concrete things that can't do it. And if I say, oh, let's match, there's one snowball, and I say, oh, let's match it or find another snowball. It is going to be the same because you can see what it is, they can match it, and you can find what it is. Whereas it gets relatively harder each step up. So when you're in level 2, you're thinking about describing questions. Those are things that can have a little bit of answer that is wrong, but it requires you to have a bit more thinking. So who is running? In that page, I don't think it was who is running. Let me just bring it back up. It's this one. In that picture, oh, sorry. Is it this one? Sorry. Well, it doesn't matter which one it is, sorry. So those are the questions that, who is doing certain thing? It can be wrong. It could be Elmer. It could be another elephant. Who is, I think there's one making the snowball. If you remember, it was Elmer. So I could say, who was making, snowball? It's Elmer, but it could be another elephant. So there's something that could be wrong. Since categorizations, find me an app, find me a fruit, for example, or find me something cold. Those are more things that they have to be thinking about. That's not concrete. They can't find it immediately. They have to use a bit more of their thinking. Level 3 questions are more about your retelling. So these are things are more going towards abstract. They can't really find it or pinpoint it on the page. There are things that you have to discuss about. There are things that you have to be talking about. Those are the questions that earlier I think Macy was talking about, your feelings, your predictions, your retelling of events, talking about what's happening, and funny enough, in level 3, you see what is not. And then it is one of the harder questions because often we think, oh, if we can find what is, we should know what is not. But it is actually a level higher of thinking where, oh, now we have to think, oh, this is not this one, this is not this one, or this is this one, this is this one. What are the similarities? What is not? And then figure out, oh, this is not the one that you're looking for. So these are higher level of thinking and more abstract as well. And then we're getting to level 4 where you're having things where you have to justify. These are all the reasons. Do you remember? Is, that they're looking at your memory and then you're justifying as, oh no, little Johnny went to hospital. He fell and hurt himself. Oh, but how do we go to hospital? Now you're thinking, oh, how do we do it? Do we call him on the phone? Do we ask mommy to help? Does do you go buy a car? No, the car broke down. Oh no, what should we do now? Those are your thinking, very big thinking, and your inferencing, like, oh, he put on a jacket. How do you know he's cold? Because the window's open, or when we're looking at Elmo with the snow, it's like, oh, he's very cold. Maybe and if there was a picture where he put a scarf on or something, we could ask, oh, how do we? Then they're asking about questions about, oh, because he's wearing a scarf and there's snow, that's why we know he's cold, or because he put on the scarf, that's why we know he's cold, right? So theory of mind questions. So those are your level 4 questions as well. Do you have any questions about questions at the moment? Any questions so far? Because no? Okay. I am going to the next page. This is this. Oh, it was on the next page. I'm going to bring you to this page again. We're quite familiar with it by now. And what I'm going you to do now is knowing your levels of questions now that we've read a bit of a chat about earlier, level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. I want you to make some questions for me about this page. Give me some questions that you think you would ask. So let's start with Macy this time because I called on Sandrine earlier. So Macy, what kind of questions might you ask on this page knowing, at your level 1?
I will start with what are the blue little things on the sky in the sky? Yeah. Start with the what question. Yeah. So I think
those blue things, yep.
Yeah. So I think it should be easy, right? They would say like birds, right? And I will also say ask oh, the elephants look really happy. Why are they so happy?
What level do you think that question do you think is? Is it more easy questions towards the concrete, or do you think it's towards more abstract?
It's more like level level 2, level 3, level 3. Yeah.
We're thinking about they look very happy. Why are they happy? Okay, we're thinking it's a little bit of a level 3 question. Okay, lovely. What about Sadrine? What kind of questions do you think you might ask?
So for level 2 question, I will ask what are those elephants doing?
Mm-hmm. Lovely. What are they doing? What's the action? You can see, they're rolling, they're tumbling, what are they? Yep. Any other questions you might ask?
Let me go back to my note. Look at the level 4.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Oh, so I may for level 4 solving problems. So I may ask some elephant may be falling down. So what do you think they can do to protect themselves from falling down again?
That's a very good question. Yeah, what could they do to stop themselves from falling down? These are things that they have to think, oh, maybe next time they be careful, they don't play on the mountains, or maybe they wear more clothes, so they, those kind of things that have to generate those answers, and you can't find it in the book. And these are very good things that you can discuss about as well. And I think I'm going to ask you a question now. I'm going to ask, and you're going to tell me what question do you think it is. If I say, what will happen next? What kind of question do you think that might be?
Prediction level 3, retelling.
Yeah, a prediction question. I see Macy unmuted herself as well. What did you want to add anything, Macy?
Yes, that's a kind of prediction.
Yeah, what will happen next? So they kind of don't have a right answer. Well, there is kind of a right answer because if you turn the page further down, you'd find the answer. You can see where it's going with the abstract and the concrete. Like sometimes those questions you can see it immediately. Sometimes there are questions that you can't find it in the book and it requires more discussion. And so why we're wanting to talk about those questions is because sometimes we don't realize that we ask questions that might not be at the right level for them. And so it's really important that we start to recognize what kind of questions are we actually asking our children? Are we always asking level 1 questions? Or are we always asking level 4 questions? Have we missed a few things in between? Do we need to add a little bit more in so that they can actually find the success and the joy in answering those questions to us? So like we say, going back to level 1 questions, those are your naming things, right? So we can think, find the snowballs. Can you find the elephant laying down? Or, what are those blue things? I would kind of say, what are those blue things could be more of a level 2 questions, because now they're thinking, oh, those blue things could be anything, right? But if you want to change the question to be a level 1 question, how would you change it to make it more easier? How would you might change the dialogue? Like now that you've seen this page and we want to ask about the birds, how can we change it to make it sound like a level 1 question?
Can you find the blue birds in the sky?
Perfect. So can you find me the blue bird in the sky? Or can you find me the blue bird? That's perfect. We've made it a little bit more easier. Can you see by changing the way that we ask that question, we can make it even easier for the child to be able to respond to you, okay? So in level 2, we've got those describing words, right? So who is it? What is the elephant doing? What is the gray elephant doing? Where is he going? Where are the birds going? I actually think that would be a little bit harder because it doesn't really have an answer about where the bird is going here. We've got sentence completions as well, but I think we were thinking about, what are they playing with? They're playing with the snow. They're playing with the elephants. The birds are playing with the elephants. The 2 elephants are, we've got 2 elephants at the back. We go, 2 elephants are an answer.
Running.
Running. Perfect, right? So those are so easy because the expectation of what kind of answer I want, right? But it's a little harder because if I said the two elephants are, it could be, it could be jumping, it could be, rolling on the floor, it could be eating, it could be anything because you can put another answer on. But because what we're looking for is the two elephants are running, it makes it a little bit harder because in terms of the book. So they have to think a little because there's not the right answer as well. Perfect. Retelling. Okay, what does that look like? So some of those questions were, what will happen next? How is Elmer feeling? Those are the thinking about the emotions, thinking now they're not just looking at the book, they're also thinking about how the characters are feeling. They were thinking about those, those emotions, those other things apart from that. Those like really concrete things that we can touch. Because we can't really touch the emotions. And I guess you can really see it because it's smiling. He's smiling. But these are things that they have to know about as well. So in terms of retelling, apart from those two questions on the page, what other questions might we ask? We are running out. Anything? One question. One question about level 3.
Which elephant is not running?
Which elephant is not perfect? Which elephant is with knowing then there's 4 other things that they can choose from and they can talk more about that. And then justify this level 4, we're thinking about, those things about solving problems, the reasons, the cause, inferencing, what could the elephants do instead? Oh no, he's frozen. What could he do instead? How do you know Elmer's sad? Because he's frozen, because, I don't like being in the cold. Or, because my personal experience says, being frozen or being very cold makes me sad. So those are things that they have to justify why they're feeling sad. We're just going to look at this video. Now that we know about our child and we're, questioning and all that we talked about, we're going to watch this video again and keep in mind all those things, okay?
Macy drives a bus. It's a green bus. Oh, Macy's waving. Hello, Macy.
Hello.
Hello, Macy. Macy's the driver. Oh, let's open a book. Macy's driving her bus today. Oh, look at the two
Macy.
black wheels. Yes, who is driving the bus today?
Macy.
Macy, that's right. Macy's driving the
Hello,
bus.
Macy.
Hello, Macy. Oh, let's have a look who will be waiting at bus stop number 1. Oh, it's a squirrel. It's wearing a yellow t-shirt and green pants. It's at bus stop number 1. Yes.
All right, we're not going to watch the whole video, but did she do anything different from the first video? Well, apart from that, our child and our parents swapped in this video.
Bus stop. Macy drives the bus.
What was good about this video? What was not good? What do you think? Macy?
The tone intonation, first of all, is more engaging, right? And then more intonation. And secondly, the parent is trying to, follow, what the kid is looking at, and then try to repeat that, and then make it into a short sentence to explain a little bit more at that particular area that the child is focusing on.
Okay, Sindri?
I agree with Macy, and I can't find something not good in this video. Can you find some points to remind us, maybe?
Oh, you want me to find something that is not good about the video?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yep. I think it was more about thinking about what was changed. I think it is like if we're thinking about, what's not good about the video, it would be more about if the child was at a higher level, then she might be able to use a little bit more questions, like different variety of questions as well. But I think overall it was a good demonstration because we were trying very hard to make sure that we are showing all the nice things about the video as well. So it's nice that you haven't found anything bad about it. I'll let Simone know. That was our other therapist pretending to be the adult there. Thank you so much. I think to summarize on, questions, I would really want to, encourage us to first stop before we ask a question and think like a lot about why we're asking that question. And is it to test their knowledge? So is it that we're thinking, oh, do you know this? And we want to ask the question. And are we certain they know the answer? If we are certain that they know the answer, then I want us to ask ourselves, why are we asking that question? Is it adding any new things to them? And four is the fourth thing is, sorry, my voice is breaking there. And the fourth thing that I want to also know, for us to know is, when we're asking that question, what is the expectation? What are we expecting to respond back to us? What is it that we want them to do? And if they don't know the answer, and we are certain that they don't know the answer, then why are we asking it in the first place, right? So that's where the commenting is coming in from. A lot of times that I would also encourage is that let's give them all the answers first and then ask them a question regarding the comment. So it can be anything from, if we're looking for problem-solving questions, because I know that we've got a 7-year-old in mind. So if we're thinking about that, we're thinking, oh, problem solving, we really want to be at that level 4, right? So I want to give them more comments about all the things that they can do. Or the question that was about, how can we protect them, right? Then I might say, oh, next time, oh no, he's falling down, he might get hurt. Or maybe next time he can wear lots of clothes so he's nice and padded and he won't hurt himself. Or maybe he can put a helmet on, that will protect his head. Or maybe he doesn't play in the hill, or he can run slower. Or what do you think he can do to protect himself? That generates them to be able to think about all the type of things that you want him to say, the expectations. And then you've also added some language to them. So if they don't know the answer, they know what to say, or they can learn from what you've said. I think it's readjusting why we're asking those questions as well. On that note, do you have any questions so far for me from any of the things that I've said? Anything at all? We're all good? No questions? Sorry. So if there's no questions, we're just going to quickly go on to the next part.
Okay.
Is there still time? I think we're a bit short.
Yes, the dreams are good. I think we are running out of time, but we can very quickly go through this because it's really helpful for you. Very important as well while you're reading for your child. So we're going to really quick give you some hints on how are you going to prompt your child to answer your questions. So now we have learned how are we going to comment on the book and also learn about how to ask different level of questions. So bear that in mind that be aware of what you are asking and did you make any comments before you ask the questions, and so that your child has already learned something in order to answer your questions. So, but sometimes when we ask question, oh, I think I've made more than 3 times of commenting on that word, maybe elephant, this word, but then my child still cannot answer it. My child still cannot say elephants. What should we do? It's level 1 question already, so it's very easy. And this is how we can make some prompting to prompt his answer in order to produce the word and learn the word elephant. Now we are going to learn about from the very less support. So what we are doing is we expect the child can answer your question very independently. And this is what we call is the highest level of independency in order to answer the question. We don't give him any support. We give the least support and we expect him to know the answer. But then he still cannot say the word elephant. So what we can do is prompting him to look at the picture. We can use visual support. This is a very good strategy that we are actually expecting you to say the word elephant, but then we are giving a visual prompt to maybe pointing to the elephant, or maybe give him some more, like for example, when we are asking, oh, what is it? What is it? Like while we are pointing to the visual so that he knows to say elephant. Yeah. But then, oh, still my child still cannot answer. For example, like when I point to this, it's elephant, it's just one word, but then my child cannot say the word. It's not about you are not giving you are not commenting before you ask your question. Maybe your child need more support to retrieve the word. So the next level, what we can do is giving him more support, which is to give the phonetic cue. For example, we can give the first sound of the word if the word has more than one syllable. For example, if we're expecting your child to say elephant, elephant, there are actually 3 syllables. We can actually say, what is it? And we wait for your child to respond. If your child cannot respond, we can give them visual support, point to that. If your child still cannot answer elephant, we can give 1 syllable, maybe eh. Yeah. And then if your child can respond, and he said, oh, elephant. So it helps it. So that means that the verbal prompt phonetic cue is actually helping your child to retrieve words, and it's also telling you that sometimes your child require more hint for him to retrieve words. So maybe next time when you give answer, maybe when you ask questions, you can actually offer more phonetic cue for him. You can start from here to give more support for your child to retrieve words. Yeah. So, oh, but then my child still cannot do it. Like if I offer, if I say, and then my child still cannot say the word elephant. So what should we do? We can actually produce the syllable of the word. So we can say, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, just now is the syllable. Yeah. And then if your child, oh, now he can already say elephant. So next time you can make it harder. When you make it harder, you can say eh, like just the first sound of the word. Yeah. And then if your child is actually, no, he just really can't. If I say elephant or just the sound, eh, he can't do it. And then what should we do? We can actually offer binary choice. We give them 2 choices to choose from. We can say, is it, we can ask the question first, what is it? And then if he can't answer it, we can say, oh, is it elephant or lion? So that he knows, oh, you're expecting me to answer elephant or the word lion. Now we are choosing elephant. Now he knows the word. So sometimes we can offer binary choice for them to choose. But remember, you may actually mix levels. Sorry. And sometimes you can actually switch the position of your choices. So remember, don't always just give the answer at the end of your question. So next time if you ask, what is it? You can actually ask, is it elephant or lion? Or next time if you ask another on another page, you can ask, what is it? Is it lion or elephant? So that your child can know that they have to choose and they have to listen to your choices and choose the word that they're listening. And the last the last support that we can do is what we call is the more support level, and which is just to model the answer again and just tell him like, what is it? And he can't do it. We can just give him the answer, say elephant. Yeah. So that he knows, oh, when you ask this question, next time I can say elephant. Yeah. But then remember, don't ask your question to do say elephant, say elephant. This is very discouraging for your child because it's very pushy for your child if you do it. Yeah, and then they will find it maybe less interesting because every time when I read the book, my mommy has to make me say words. Yeah, so just observe the level and also observe the ability that your child can do while you ask your questions. And you can always apply different level of questions and adjust your leveling while you read with your child to make it more successful when they answer the question. Yeah. Okay. So
just going to
yeah.
just going to add
Yeah.
to that. I think like no matter if it's the modeling or the prompting or the questions, I think it's really important that we start from doing the easier things and then get to the harder things. Because what happens is that when we start easy, we're ensuring that our child feels success. So they're going if you ask a question that's easy, they can answer it, and then you're like, oh, they're gonna, oh, this is easy, I can do it. I'm not saying that, you know, if you're very certain that they know certain things and it's too easy for them to never, you know, go right down to the bottom, you could start at level 2 or level 1s. But it's using that mixture of questions that helps them feel that success and then adding and sprinkling the harder things on. So sometimes when you think, oh, actually, they're not really doing level 4 questions, they're only answering some level 3 questions, but they're doing really good with the level 2 questions, for example, then you want to ask them, you know, the level 2 questions and then add 1 or 2 level 3 and then maybe sprinkle a level 4 question in. Same with the promptings and the modeling as well. Like you don't have to say, oh, but he's really good at phonetic cues, so I can only give them phonetic cues. Or it's too baby to give them binary choices. I don't want to do that. I only want to give them visual prompts and make sure that they only look at the visuals and know what's happening. The other thing with visual prompts with books as well is that, you know, sometimes you might ask a question and then you might let them flip back a page, okay? We're allowed to flip back to the pages and, you know, it doesn't always have to be, you know, moving forward in the book and we can never go back. So it's really good to have that backwards and forwards because we're engaging in conversation. We're trying to get them to be thinking. We're trying to get them to be talking with us. Oh, that's right. I forgot too. You know, we can use those cues. Oh, Mummy doesn't remember. Oh, what was it? Oh, let's have a look. We can go backwards as well. That lets them know that it to feel success, to let them think, oh, actually, I can do it too. You know, it's not too hard. I'm not, you know, this is not a chore. It's not something that I don't like. So I think it's just really important that we keep that in mind as well. And with binary choices, it doesn't have to be single words. We're just using single words as an example because it's easiest for us to, you know, model for you to know. But if it's asking a binary choice about problems, like, you know, when we're bringing back to the earlier one that Sintrain said, you know, how do we protect ourselves? Oh, maybe we can protect ourselves with the helmet, or maybe we can protect ourselves with, you know, the you know, marshmallows, those kind of things as well. So it can also be very unrelated choices, which makes it easier for them to choose. And then it gets closer and closer in semantic relations. So it could be a helmet, or then you could be, I don't know, thinking about something that can predict a hat. Yeah, a helmet or a hat. They're very close. Something that they can choose from that is a little harder as well. So that's how we can control that queuing as well. In that case, we are going to go into Q&A and heading to the end of and wrapping up our talk for today. Do you guys have any other questions that you have for us? No question. Oh, I have a thumbs up from Centurion. Thank you. Macy, any questions?
All good. Thank you.
Lovely. Hey, if there are any questions, if you think about it during the week, you're, you know, reading with your child, you're thinking, oh, actually, I've got some questions. Is this going to work? Feel free to email us. We will try to get back to you as promptly as possible. there is some things for you to have a look at. We do have some tips and some strategies there if you want to read a little bit more. And there is, I think I do have another handout that from Hannon that we could share with you if you want. So give us an email if you want us to share that with you as well. I'll give you a bit of a chance. Have you managed to snap that QR code? If there isn't, then thank you for listening to us. We really appreciate you joining the conversation. It's not easy so late at night, and you probably have other things going on as well. So thank you very much, and we really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us.